Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dark Metal video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at, well, basically, to cut a long story short, how my GT team is holding up in the current meta. Now, we obviously, all going to have different teams, and this isn't a discussion around GT as a whole, but it is a little bit of a discussion around the meta predominantly, and obviously this team kind of going into the Legends Festival. I'd also like it stated that I have only ever in my life hit God rank once, and I have never been interested in getting there again. I usually end up around the high 50s, 60 BR, sometimes 70 if I have a lot of time, but I'm not the best PvP player. So I don't want anyone to think that I am even remotely the best PvP player, just as a heads up. Now, with that being said, let's talk a little bit about what the current meta is like, and let's talk about this team. So firstly, when we talk about the current meta, we have to talk really about Ultras. Ultras are now, it seems, more than ever, the dominant force in the Legends PvP meta. The Ultras are 100%, at least to me, the big game changers when it comes to PvP. Legends Limited characters, yes, there are very good ones. Like with the anniversary, we got a ton of great Legends Limited characters. Broly was a cool Legends Limited character. SS3 Gotenks was a pretty efficient Legends Legends Limited character. Legends Limited still have a big impact in the meta, but they do not define the meta like Ultras do. Ultras definitely feel, for lack of a better term, inherently broken a lot of the time when they first open up. And it feels like it's becoming increasingly so. So it definitely feels like it's becoming more and more the case that Ultras are this kind of like big, functional, like huge entity that just has a big, overwhelming like positioning in terms of the, let's say Legends functionality. So right now, GT's Ultra is basically Ultra Gogeta. He came out from the anniversary, and so a lot of GT's like meta presence is going to be based on him. Unfortunately, he's just kind of finally had an answer made to him in the form of the Legends Ultra Majin Vegeta. With that being said, Majin Vegeta is definitely, I would say, the first unit that can outright slap Gogeta. And this is not, look, I mean, there have been units that can definitely compete against him quite well, we'll talk about that. But Majin Vegeta is definitely, like, he feels like the predominant force right now, and by quite a bit. Like, I think he's really the best unit right now in Legends. Him being yellow is definitely quite counterproductive to a unit like, obviously Gogeta. With that being said, I will state that I think for me, Gogeta still is more than fine in a competitive aspect. So although Majin Vegeta is definitely a strong presence and he can cause Gogeta a ton of problems, he's definitely a huge counter to him, I don't think it just means he can't exist in the meta. It's definitely a hard counter to him, but he's strong enough and still performs well enough against the other Ultras that have released since then that I wouldn't say he's, completely out of the water. And because of that, GT is never really out of the water, if you get what I'm saying. Like, when you have to measure units, you have to measure them based, or teams, you have to measure them based on their best units. Gogeta still being in the top meta means that they will always kind of be okay. One of the big crucial units that I'm missing, that I think would work really well on this team, is the green Omega Shenron. He really would have a great presence right now for this team. and he alone would have a huge impact on this team's performance. Just from the utility he provides, the way he can strong counter those kind of key reduction orientated teams. He is blast to a certain degree, which does inherently give him some issues, especially in this Martian Vegeta dominant situation. And that is something that's also, unfortunately, just one of those things you have to sort of deal with. Martian Vegeta does not care. He really is a huge problem against blast units because of that counter, because of how everything works. So, yeah, I would say, obviously, besides that, at least for me, I do think, that, yeah, the team's in a decent position. Like, I do think, for me, all in all, I find that Gogeta, if you have Omega Shenron or Sin Shenron, I think they come together really nicely. I think Great Shenron is still very useful. I think their Zenkais are a little bit rough around the edges. We do probably need a couple decent Zenkais for GT. I think SS4 Gogeta is not too bad still. I think he still works really nicely. All in all, I think GT is going fine into Legends Fest. I do think GT will get some buffs during Legends Fest. I think we'll have a lot of the inverse, so you're probably going to find we're going to get some kind of Legends Limited GT character. At least I think so. And the Ultra will be something else entirely. This is also not to mention that you can really build into Ultra Gogeta. There's a lot of purple fused fighters. There's a lot of really good purple buffs that can kind of operate for him. I think if I were to talk mainly about him as a unit, I think he's still going to be a presence for quite a while. Even throughout the Legends Festival, I think he'll still be pretty good. I do think they have made a way to counter him, but keep him quite relevant. And I think he can still do stuff on his day. Like, he still can. I mean, I still beat a Martian Vegeta led team with him. It was difficult, but it still could happen. If GT gets a good red, then, Gogeta's always back in vogue. And as long as GT has a strong red at some point, then he's always going to be a great Ultra pick to kind of roll with. I think if I'm looking at a lot of things on a functional level, I think GT is still very much a team that can still, maybe not so much dominate, but be very good in the current meta. And this team, I think, works really, really, really well. So yeah, that's really it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.